Let's now look at another product in Apple's line of products, called the iPhone. The iPhone is a line of smartphones produced by Apple that use Apple's own iOS mobile operating system. The first-generation iPhone was announced by then Apple CEO Steve Jobs on January 9, 2007. Since then, Apple has annually released new iPhone models and iOS updates. Here is the evolution of the iPhone smartphone. The iPhone, this is the first smartphone to be released by Apple on January 9, 2007. It was marketed as a widescreen iPod. It had the following features: 3.5-inch display, a 2MP camera, and storage that maxed out at 16 GB. It had 128 MB of RAM, which was fairly impressive, and weighed just 135 grams. Although it does not support any third-party apps, the original iPhone was considered ahead of its time thanks to its revolutionary touchscreen design. iPhone 3G, the second iPhone, was released 1 year after the first iPhone on June 9, 2008. It had the App Store, 3G connectivity, and up to 16 GB of storage. It offered a 3.5-inch display, a 2-megapixel camera, and 128 MB of RAM. iPhone 3GS, it was released on June 8, 2009. The iPhone 3GS had increased storage of 32 GB and 256 MB of RAM. The iPhone 3GS also featured a new 3MP autofocus camera, an inbuilt digital compass, and new accessibility features like VoiceOver. iPhone 4, it was released on June 7, 2010, and it was the first iPhone with a Retina display. It offered other upgrades too, including a 5MP camera with LED flash and FaceTime calls using a front camera, the first on an iPhone. The iPhone 4 also introduced a new glass and stainless steel design. iPhone 4S, after about a year, Apple later released the iPhone 4S on October 4, 2011. The phone had an 8MP camera, 64 GB of storage, the digital personal assistant Siri, 1080p video recording, and iCloud storage. iPhone 5, the iPhone 5 was released in September 2012, and the following changes were introduced: a bigger 4-inch display, LTE connectivity, a FaceTime HD front camera, and a new Lightning connector replacing the older 30-pin charging port. iPhone 5S and 5C, Apple introduced the iPhone 5S and iPhone 5C. 1 year later, on September 10, 2013, the iPhone 5S brought Touch ID to the iPhone, integrating a fingerprint sensor into the home button. It also featured a fingerprint sensor and True Tone flash, along with new camera modes such as burst and slow-mo. The iPhone 5C was a cheaper iPhone available in 5 vibrant colors but lacked the Touch ID fingerprint sensor. iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, the two phones were launched on September 9, 2014. They came in 4.7-inch and 5.5-inch screen sizes and had a new design made of unibody aluminum that was thinner than previous iPhones. The new iPhones were also the first to come with Apple Pay, allowing users to make contactless payments in stores using the Touch ID fingerprint sensor for authentication. Video recording got a boost with these iPhones, as did the FaceTime front camera. iPhone 6s and the 6s Plus. The iPhone 6 series was followed by the iPhone 6s and iPhone 6s Plus in September 2015. It had the following new features: a new A9 Bionic chipset with 3D touch, allowing users to apply pressure to the iPhone's display to view additional options. Live photos, improved front and rear cameras, and the ability to use the "Hey Siri" command without the iPhone being plugged into a power source. The iPhone SE was introduced to the market on March 21, 2016. It had more additional features than the previous iPhone 6s and iPhone 6 Plus. The iPhone SE featured a compact 4-inch display, an A9 Bionic chipset, a 12-megapixel rear camera, 4K video recording, and live photos. iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, 6 months after the iPhone SE, Apple introduced the iPhone 7. It offered up to 256 GB of storage, dual cameras, and a beautiful jet black color. It was also the first iPhone with an IP67 water resistance rating. The bigger iPhone 7 Plus was also the first iPhone to feature dual rear cameras and portrait mode. The iPhone 8 and 8 Plus were later launched on September 12, 2017. The iPhone 8 introduced the following features: a new glass and aluminum design, bringing support for wireless charging for the first time on an iPhone. The iPhone 8 Plus also featured portrait lighting, a feature that has since become standard on iPhone models. Most notably, the iPhone 8 series brought support for AR, letting users experience games and apps in augmented reality. iPhone 10. The iPhone 10 was also launched alongside the iPhone 8 series. It has the following features: it replaced the Touch ID sensor and home button with Face ID, and it was also the first iPhone to feature a 5.8-inch full-screen design and a wide notch. The iPhone 10 also introduced Animoji, now called Animated Memoji. It had 64 GB 3 GB RAM or 256 GB 3 GB RAM. iPhone XS and XS Max. The two phones were announced on September 12, 2018. The phones came in two sizes, 5.8-inch and 6.5-inch, making the XS Max the largest iPhone yet. The phones featured an A12 Bionic chipset, improvements to Face ID, and an upgraded IP68 water resistance rating. The new iPhones also brought dual SIM to the iPhone for the first time, and they also introduced Gigabit LTE, enabling faster download speeds. iPhone XR. On the same day Apple released the iPhone XS series, they also released the iPhone XR with a 6.1-inch display. It also featured the Apple A12 Bionic chipset but came with just a single rear camera. It offered a slightly downgraded water resistance rating of IP67, compared to IP68 on the iPhone XS devices. However, it was available in 6 colors and was priced affordably, making it a popular choice among iPhone buyers on a budget since it was intended to be a cheaper version of the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Max. iPhone 11 series. This Apple series was introduced on September 10, 2019, and consists of the iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro, and iPhone 11 Pro Max. The iPhone 11 was available in a multitude of colors and came with an all-new wide and ultra-wide dual camera. It also featured the U1 chip with ultra-wideband technology. The iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max were the first iPhones to feature 3 cameras at the back, which included a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto sensor. They also had Super Retina XDR OLED displays and improved battery life compared to previous iPhones. iPhone SE 2, on April 15, 2020, 4 years after the original iPhone SE was announced, Apple launched the iPhone SE 2. It is powered by an A13 Bionic chip, has a 4.7-inch display, and has a home button with a Touch ID fingerprint sensor. It also featured an IP67 water resistance rating. The iPhone 12 series was announced on October 13, 2020, and consists of 4 models: the iPhone 12, iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12 Pro, and iPhone 12 Pro Max. The iPhone 12 mini was a compact smartphone with a 5.4-inch display but featured the same full-screen design as the other iPhone 12 models. They were the first iPhones to support 5G and were also the first to introduce MagSafe, Apple's proprietary magnetic wireless charging system that has become a staple of iPhones since. While the iPhone 12 and 12 mini featured dual rear cameras, the iPhone 12 Pro models featured triple rear cameras. The Pro models also introduced Ceramic Shield, a super tough front cover glass to protect the display, and LiDAR to enable better augmented reality experiences. Apple also removed a key component of iPhones with the iPhone 12 series, the inbox charger. The iPhone 13 series was announced by Apple on September 15, 2021, and consisted of 3 models: the iPhone 13 mini, iPhone 13 Pro, and iPhone 13 Pro Max. They are powered by the A15 Bionic chipset, and all the iPhone 13 models brought a significant boost to battery life. They also introduced a new cinematic mode in video, recording footage with a depth effect that automatically changed the focus depending on the scene. The iPhone 13 Pro models are the first iPhones to ship with a 120Hz display, but this feature isn't available on the cheaper iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini. iPhone SE 3, 2 years after the iPhone SE 2, Apple introduced the iPhone SE 3. It did not have major upgrades to the design, continuing to offer a small 4.7-inch display, thick bezels, and a home button with a Touch ID fingerprint sensor. The smartphone packed new features such as 5G, an A15 Bionic chip, and improved battery life. Apart from that, there wasn't much difference from the older model. iPhone 14 series. The iPhone 14 series was announced on September 7, 2022, and comprises the iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Plus, iPhone 14 Pro, and iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Plus is a new model in the lineup, replacing the iPhone mini. The iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Plus carry forward most features of the iPhone 13 series, including the A15 Bionic chip. The iPhone 14 Pro models bring all the upgrades. The biggest change is the new Dynamic Island, an oval-shaped cutout that replaces the wide notch. Additionally, the Pro models feature a new 48MP primary camera, the biggest resolution upgrade on an iPhone in years. They are powered by the A16 Bionic chip, which brings only minor upgrades over the A15. Another new feature is the always-on display, the first on an iPhone. All the iPhones in the iPhone 14 series feature the new crash detection and emergency SOS via satellite features, offering users access to emergency services when they may be immobile after a car crash or have no cell service or Wi-Fi access.